On this episode of the Layover Live, Grant stops by to talk link building. Stoltz, what are you doing over there, man?
Oh, well, we're talking about building, so I decided to build something.
Jenga! Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 96 of the Layover Live, where we bring you the top article from the Layover each week. I'm Jason Swick, VP of Digital Marketing, joined by my friend Grant Stoltz. So, Grant, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So, yep, we're talking about link building, not actually building. Sorry to destroy your wonderful creation earlier, right? But we are talking about the importance of link building. It's something that we all talk about a little bit, but we don't maybe think about all the different ways that we can link build. And it's really, really important because the vast majority of traffic that comes to a DMO's website is coming through organic traffic. And one of the key ways that the algorithm looks at the authority of your site is through the building of links. So this article that comes from Search Engine Journal, which talks about some travel SEO link building ideas and gives you 8 different ones in particular, is a really, really good article, one we wanted to share this week. So Grant, let's get into it a little bit. Before we start diving into some of the things the article talks about, let's talk about what is link building and maybe talk a little bit about the value of link building. Right?
Yeah, definitely. So link building from a search engine optimization standpoint is increasing the number and the quality of inbound links to your website. And this article goes into several different potential avenues for that. And of course, each industry is going to have different niches and different ways in order to build links. Yep. There's a few universal truths, but like you said, the purpose of that is to increase your website's authority so that you'll appear higher on the organic search results overall. So I think there's kind of two-pronged approach with SEO. There's a lot of the on-site, which you can control, and there's a lot of the off-site where you're looking to generate inbound links. And this is what this article talks about this week.
Yeah, so let's get into the article then a little bit too, and then talk about some of the methods. So maybe, Grant, if you could share maybe some of the methods the article talks about in terms of ways it sees best for travel to be able to build these links.
Yeah, definitely. So they list 8 different link building strategies, and some of them are very applicable, and some of them might be more reserved for destinations or organizations with a little bit of a higher budget. So, a couple things that they talk about, and one was very familiar to those in the travel industry, are press trips, that you invite people from the press or from the media to your destination, treat them, show them the sites, and in hopes that they will return into favor and write a blog post, an article.
Hopefully a good blog post.
Yes.
Article, right? Yeah.
Now, there's a caveat to that the article lists, is that if you're inviting press and media members, the weighting of their website is something to consider. Now, if you pay a large sum of money to have someone from a mom and pop blog to your destination versus someone from the New York Times, those will both pay dividends.
Very, very differently, right? Yeah, you got to really look at it is the juice worth the squeeze, right?
Exactly. Yeah. A couple other ones they mentioned there are sort of the more PR-based stunt approach. One was looking at brand stunts, as it was. An example they gave was the Malibu Barbie dream house that you could stay in, where they took over an Airbnb and made it pink and everything like that. Or even looking at some stunts from a job opportunity standpoint. They give some examples of the Guinness beer taster as a job.
Sign me up.
Yep, sounds great. Or looking at jobs like where you can take your dog to all the hotels and test them out in an area, and they pay a stipend and take pictures along the way. So it's sort of a promo contest type thing with the PR buzz of a job opportunity that a lot of these things get. But I think those are the kind of larger scale ones that require a little bit more budget that may not be appropriate for every DMO out there.
Well, let's talk about then some of the more, or the ones that are a little bit easier to implement, right? Because some of the ones you had mentioned before, like the Barbie house and those type of things, those are great ideas from a PR standpoint, right? Those activations, but they are pretty expensive to pull something like that off, right? So, higher tier 1 type destinations could probably do that thing. But let's talk about ones for kind of the everyday DMO. What are some of the easier ones maybe to implement that we should all be doing? Yeah,
definitely. So one example they give, and they say is fairly difficult, but something to at least test out, is guest blogging, where you will reach out to a media outlet, a blog, and say, hey, would love to write a guest post for you. In exchange,
you're helping them with content.
Exactly. And in exchange, you link back to your website. So siphoning off some of their brand and domain authority to your website now, and then also, like you said, providing them with some content. So that's a little hit or miss depending on the outlet. Again, you probably can't just call up the New York Times and ask to write an article for them. But there are definitely media outlets out there who would be more than happy to publish something that you might submit to them, of course, kind of with the expectation that you'll have some links back to your website as well. Some other interesting examples they talk about are providing infographics or brand-specific materials that, like I said, a destination blog or something along those lines might not want a full-fledged article, but they might find a infographic you have about your destination really interesting, and they'll link off to your website to show that off. So I think that's another interesting way to kind of go about the link building realm using other multimedia pieces in order to build a link.
Right, and that's a good one too, Grant, because if we think about, let's think about it in terms of an infographic or a statistic to share or something along those lines as a visual piece of content. Those can either be proactively sold or pitched to a travel blog or someone else to share those things. But even posting those things often in social media with some good targeting could maybe lead to somebody picking that up as well, right? And maybe get some viral pickup that way.
Exactly.
So you can kind of approach it two different ways. So take a look at the article from Search Engine Journal. It's a really, really good article. If you're always looking for link building strategies, and you should be, this is a really good article that kind of narrows down the space into 8. There's probably 100 different ones if we sat here for an hour and talked about them, but really, really good article that they have in Search Engine Journal, which really talks about 8 that you should be thinking about today. So thanks for tuning in each and every week. If you're not subscribed, please do so below. If you like to consume us through audio, we're also available on Spotify and iTunes as well. So thank you for tuning in each and every week. We'll see you next time, and have a great day.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.